Have you ever wondered if the comfort we tirelessly seek might actually be an invisible prison? We live in a world where everything is just a click away. Entertainment, food, shopping, social validation. Avoiding discomfort has never been easier. But this relentless pursuit of immediate pleasure may be keeping us from true growth. Many see pleasure as a synonym for freedom, but in reality, excessive comfort can become an invisible trap. The more we cling to instant gratification, the more dependent we become on it. And this dependence keeps us numb, disconnected from our true potential. Growth comes from expanding our awareness, overcoming challenges, and connecting with something greater than fleeting desires. But if we constantly avoid any form of pain, how can we ever evolve? Society makes us believe that comfort is synonymous with freedom. After all, who wouldn't want a life without difficulties, without challenges, filled only with pleasure and security? But are we really free when we are enslaved by the constant need for gratification? There is a psychological phenomenon called the hedonic treadmill, which explains why we are always chasing new pleasures but never remain satisfied. It works like this. You achieve something you desire, a new phone, a job promotion, the relationship of your dreams, and feel a momentary surge of happiness. But shortly after, the euphoria fades, and you return to where you started, feeling the need for something new to fill the void. This endless pursuit keeps us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction and distraction, where we are never truly present in the moment. We are always chasing the next source of pleasure, the next goal, without realizing that true peace and happiness are not external but within us. This dependence on pleasure disconnects us from the present and prevents us from developing essential qualities for the evolution of consciousness, such as patience, resilience, and self-mastery. After all, when everything comes easily, we stop learning how to deal with challenges and become fragile in the face of life's difficulties. Excessive comfort also makes us passive, and passivity keeps us from manifesting a higher reality. Conscious manifestation requires intention, focus, and action. But if we are always looking for the easiest path, we end up becoming mere spectators of life rather than creators of it. The great paradox is that comfort can be as addictive as any drug. It makes us feel safe, yet at the same time, it keeps us trapped in a state of stagnation. True growth happens when we allow ourselves to step out of this bubble, face discomfort, and transcend the illusions of immediate pleasure. The system we live in is designed to keep us constantly entertained and occupied with small doses of pleasure, ensuring that we never stop to reflect on our true essence. Everything around us is built to trigger our brain's reward system, releasing dopamine and creating a fleeting sense of satisfaction. But this happiness is short-lived and demands increasingly larger doses to be maintained. We become slaves to pleasure without realizing that we are being conditioned to live for consumption rather than consume to live. Aldous Huxley in Brave New World warned us about this reality. Unlike dystopias that depict worlds of repression and suffering, Huxley envisioned a future where people would be controlled not through pain, but through pleasure. In his book, humanity is kept passive and obedient through distractions, hedonism, and a drug called soma, which eliminates any emotional discomfort. Any resemblance to modern life is no coincidence. Today, we don't need soma to numb ourselves, our screens do that for us. We endlessly scroll through social media feeds, consume short, shallow videos, and seek virtual validation through likes and comments. This vicious cycle not only distracts us but also prevents us from growing spiritually. Expanding consciousness requires silence, reflection, and presence. But when we are constantly consumed by distractions, there is no space left for self-discovery. This relentless pursuit of instant gratification makes us intolerant to frustration. We become impatient when things don't happen immediately, develop anxiety when we lack constant stimulation, and avoid any situation that requires effort and long-term commitment. Yet real growth demands time, dedication, and the ability to face discomfort. True freedom is not about satisfying every fleeting desire, but about learning to master them. One who is a slave to their own impulses can never truly be free. We are taught to run from pain, to ignore it, repress it, or numb it with distractions. From an early age, we are conditioned to associate pain with failure and pleasure with success. If something causes discomfort, we immediately seek a quick fix. We develop a defense mechanism against anything that brings suffering, without realizing that, by doing so, we are denying an essential part of the human experience. But pain is not the enemy. Think about the most transformative moments of your life. Was it comfort that brought growth, or was it challenges? Did you discover your strength in times of peace, or was it during moments of crisis that you learned your most valuable lessons? Many traditions teach that pain has a purpose, to awaken consciousness. Suffering, when faced with wisdom, can be a powerful catalyst for soul expansion. It forces us out of our comfort zone, makes us reflect, seek deeper answers, and evolve. However, there is a difference between useless suffering and transformative pain. Useless suffering comes from resistance, when we refuse to accept reality and fight against it. Transformative pain, on the other hand, is the kind that teaches us something, strengthens us, and pushes us to a higher level of awareness. Spiritual masters have always warned about the dangers of a life based only on pleasure. In Buddhism, pain is seen as an inevitable part of existence, but suffering only arises when we resist this reality. In Stoicism, philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius taught that pain should be embraced as an opportunity to develop resilience and wisdom. If we avoid all forms of discomfort, how can we ever become wiser, stronger, and more connected to our true essence? Many people are trapped in a cycle of consumption because they fear silence, afraid to look inward and realize they don't know who they truly are or why they are here. Consumption becomes an anesthetic, a convenient distraction to avoid the discomfort of self-discovery. The system convinces us that happiness can be bought. But the truth is that consumption never fills the inner void. The more we seek happiness in external things, the further we drift from the true source of fulfillment, our life's purpose. Having a purpose greater than the pursuit of fleeting pleasures is what gives meaning to existence. When we align with our mission, we experience a happiness that goes beyond momentary gratification. True fulfillment comes from letting go of materialism and connecting with something greater. Minimalism, for example, is not just a lifestyle but a path to mental and spiritual clarity. When we remove excess, we can finally see what truly matters. Purpose is what frees us from the emptiness of consumption and leads us to a deeper, more authentic happiness. Now, ask yourself, is your life guided by purpose or by the desire to have more? Are you consciously choosing your path, or are you merely reacting to the world's distractions? If our choices are driven by external forces, how can we find true freedom? The answer lies in expanding our consciousness. When we begin to question our impulses, understand the motivations behind our decisions, and cultivate presence, we start seeing beyond the illusion. True freedom is not about doing whatever we want all the time, but about making conscious choices, aligned with our deepest values, rather than dictated by the system. This is why self-knowledge is essential. The more we understand ourselves, the less we are manipulated by external influences. We realize that we don't need everything the world tells us we do to be happy. This awareness brings detachment, clarity of purpose, and the ability to act consciously. Expanding consciousness means breaking free from this invisible prison and beginning to see life from a broader perspective. This requires an inner shift, slowing down, observing our own patterns, practicing silence, and seeking answers within rather than outside ourselves. Meditation, solitude, and detachment help us realize that many of our worries are mere distractions. When we disconnect from external noise and reconnect with our essence, something changes. Suddenly, we understand that we don't need to chase fleeting pleasures to feel whole. True fulfillment comes from connecting with something greater, our higher self, the intelligence of the universe, the deeper meaning of existence. When you start seeing beyond illusions, you stop being a mere spectator of life and become a conscious creator of your reality. You no longer seek happiness in temporary distractions, but instead find meaning in what truly matters. In the end, what imprisons us is not the outside world, it is the way we choose to perceive it. The spiritual path is not about denying pleasure or avoiding the material world. It's about using it with awareness. When we stop seeking happiness in distractions and start looking within, we realize that true peace is not found in what we have, but in who we are. And the more we align our lives with this truth, the freer we become. Life will always have challenges, moments of pain, and uncertainty. But when we learn to see discomfort as a teacher rather than an enemy, everything changes. Suffering stops being something to avoid and becomes an opportunity for growth. The fear of the unknown is replaced by trust in life's flow. Anxiety about the future dissolves as we surrender to the present moment. The greatest illusion of the modern world is not just the promise of happiness through pleasure, but the belief that we need something outside of ourselves to be complete.